Hey, good morning, Jacques. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. I'm talking to Garth Brooks.
Entering his second year as the LSU head football coach.
It was the only way I could get a foot in the door.
Joined by the icon, Kim Mulkey. Hey, Coach, great to see you. Welcome to another edition of Jacques Talk. It's my pleasure right now to be joined by three LSU football greats. We have the great Rohan Davey at quarterback. We have Eddie Kennison at wide receiver, and at running back, we have Kevin Faulk. Thanks, all you guys, for coming down.
How you keep wanting to shake everybody's hand?
Well, yeah, I'm running for office.
All you missing is the tight end.
That's it, baby. We got a team, baby.
Well, who would we get? We get Robert Royal, or we get David LaFleur, or who would we pick at tight end?
Hey.
You selected us, so that's up to you.
That's on you. Don't put it on us.
You selected us, so that's all over you.
I'll take any of those guys.
Right.
It'll be whoever gets left out. And Jacques chose them. Yeah,
That's exactly right.
I picked you.
Bingo.
That's exactly right.
We're on your terms right now.
That's exactly right.
Well, the tight end position has changed so much, right? It used to be just this big lumbering blocker. Now you got a Trey Green, who's a freak show, and people like that play the position.
Well, I think you got three guys that you can choose from.
That's exactly right.
One that does kind of all three, one that does the other. You got a variety of guys you got to choose from that you say those three. Yeah. Now, you might be missing a couple that that might be a little upset with you.
Bow Sharp, they just added.
Okay.
We're not talking about him. We're talking about other tight. He's new.
Yeah, he's new. But
he's good.
From what I've seen.
Yeah, he's good. I agree. I like what I've seen.
He's definitely going to be a positive.
Oh, Dallas Clark. He reminds me of Dallas Clark.
Yes, Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah. They do.
Well, the 2019 team, Thaddeus Moss had been injured his whole career, and then when he got healthy, there's only so many people you can guard, right? You got to.
That's right.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Thaddeus got open a few times, caught 2 touchdowns in the national championship against Clemson.
Thaddeus was a product of the situation.
And
good athlete, but when you name those athletes, you just name. I'm gonna get in where I fit in.
That's exactly right.
Because they're gonna have a bunch of balls that go to you because everybody's gonna be looking at all those other guys.
That's right. That's right.
Richard Dixon, he was the leader in catches before.
Yeah. See, you're bringing it up now. Okay.
Well, and then Mason. He's the latest and greatest, Mason Taylor.
Yeah. Oh, how can we forget about Mason?
Jacques forgot about him.
Yeah, because Jacques was the one that's supposed to invite the tight end.
Exactly.
Hey, today on this chat, everything is my fault. Okay, for sure, right?
Hey, listen, yes.
I mean, how many years in the NFL do we have here? 20, 23, 20. I mean, you two alone were in the year 13 years each, right? You were at 4 or 5, so
23. You done missed something.
You ain't lying.
You shot a couple.
13, 26.
4.
So 30 years in the league total, right here. So
longevity and consistency there, brother.
Did you know Jason Taylor when you played?
Man,
I do know Jason Taylor and knew him when we played, and we never became like tight friends or anything like that, but definitely played against Jason. And but happy to see his son obviously following his footsteps, along with a lot of other guys who have followed in their father's footsteps. So it was good playing against him and good seeing Mason compete for the Tigers.
Well, Rohan's got a son that did well at McNeese and is now moving on to UTEP. I mean, it's the new wave of your lives, right? Your children are now playing the game, moving into the college ranks and the pro ranks and everything.
Is that your nice way of calling us old?
Hey, I'm right there with you.
I got a Jason Taylor story for you if you don't mind.
Okay.
Mason comes in, he's getting recruited and everything. Jason comes with his mom and everything, and we're talking. I'm like, hey, what's up, Jason? How you doing? And out of the blue, he just...
That's that chip block, baby.
And I'm like, what's going on? He said, every time I see you, I still think about you chipping me.
Chip block.
And all I could do was laugh. Anytime we played against them, I was on chip alert.
That's right.
Jason Taylor. That's just how good he was.
Great player.
Like
man.
Eddie said, his son, just by his play, didn't have the opportunity to be around him as much as we would like to have been, but you can just tell by his play what his personality, what his character was, and who he is as a person, and that's a credit to his dad and the mom.
Well, you played against them, same division, right?
That's right.
So 2 games a year for
many years.
Long time?
Many years.
Yeah. Well, I remember Mason's first game as an LSU Tiger. They played Florida State,
right.
And he had the wherewithal to get out of bounds on that final play to set up the Jaden Daniels pass to Jeray Jenkins. The extra point got blocked, and they lost, but right away you kind of saw he had football
IQ.
skills.
Yes, football IQ was very high.
IQ.
So LSU football, the spring is over with. I don't know what we learned about spring football. Well, what was your take on spring football when you had to do it? Just a rite of passage. We got to do this. It's better than sitting around for 2 or 3 months.
It's something that you have to do. Spring football has to happen. All-season conditioning has to happen to gear your body up to get ready for a long season. And, we can all look at any spring football practice, not just LSU, and say that, oh, yeah, these guys look good. Well, anybody look good in just, some flaky little shoulder pads and a helmet and some shorts. Anybody looks good. The expectations for LSU football this year is no other than the national championship. That's it. And that should be the expectation every year. Correct. As a head coach, as a coaching staff, as a football team. If your mindset isn't set to win a national championship every year, then why go in and do all of the things deemed necessary to get ready for the season?
Well, let's piggyback off of that.
Well, look, spring football now is a little bit different now because you have transfer portal, because you have so many guys now being integrated into your system that haven't been there. So to Eddie's point, you need to see those guys and what they bring to your organization, which is what it is now when they come in, because you bringing in, look at LSU, we bring in half of these guys that are coming in to fill your roster, and they're coming from other teams. So you want to see how they're going to fit, how they integrate into your system, into your offense, defense, and special teams. So I think spring is a little bit more important than when, say when I was playing or we were playing, because we didn't have transfer portal, so we had guys around there year round. We knew guys, we knew how fast our receivers were, so on and so forth. So it's a little bit more important for those guys to build that continuity now.
Well, especially they've got several wide receivers, right?
Yep.
So Nussmeier needs to throw these guys, and they need to start hanging out, getting to know each other. The chemistry there as well.
Yeah.
Who stood out? Anybody, Kevin? You see anybody, or did you, or you thought
they had a couple of receivers out there that was I forget the number.
Barry and Brown's from Kentucky, right?
He was definitely one of them.
He was good. He's good.
I think the kid from Virginia.
They don't have they got a defensive back from Virginia Tech.
No, not.
You're talking about the big wide receiver?
Yeah, the big wide receiver. Yes.
Yeah,
But
he definitely
it's kind of like both of these guys said. Spring is a little different now, with the NILs and the transfer portals and everything. You have to see those guys.
Yeah.
You have to see exactly what you are getting. You know talent-wise what you're getting because you're watching that on film. But as far as how smart the guy is, how quick can he learn, that's going to be something that you want to see early.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to throw something at him early to see how he reacts to it, and then if he starts, picking it up, it's like, okay, I can go a little more.
Yeah.
I can go a little more with the playbook and everything, and it's just one of those things you have to be cognizant of. I know when we was playing, we didn't think that we needed spring,
Right.
but at the same time we do now. Now that we're not playing anymore,
Yeah.
we probably tell you, yeah, we needed it.
Well,
And I didn't do a whole lot of spring
point.
ball. I didn't do a lot of spring
You do
ball
track,
because I was running track, so totally
right,
different.
right.
Yeah.
well, you were never really fighting. Well, you were fighting for your position when Cecil Collins came around and stuff. I never think about you like.
Yeah, but Cam's approach was short time with him. He didn't matter if he had his position. He was fighting to keep that son of a gun. It's easy to get there,
Right.
but they all coming for his spot. You know what I mean?
We
Well,
call it.
what I'm asking, I guess, is are any positions really won in the spring? I mean, or you get a lead kind of? Is it like a golf tournament where we go in after 2 rounds and I've maybe got a lead over somebody, or
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yes, it can be one, but like we all just said, it's a little different now. There ain't too much hitting going on in
Right,
spring.
right.
There ain't too much tackling going on, full speed tackling going on. So we've all seen it. We've seen guys that was Superman when they don't have shoulder pads
Correct.
on, but when the shoulder pads come on, it's a totally different story.
Jane.
And and you're
Tarzan
like
and Jane, right?
stuck with the number two guy now.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, that's the balance, right? Because you hear it both ways. You hear it like if a guy fumbles in the first game, oh, they're not hitting enough. He's not used to getting hit. And then somebody gets hurt at practice. What the hell is Leonard Fournette getting hurt in practice? Why would they even tackle him? So that's kind of the balance, right? That you're trying to come up with.
You just compare two things that didn't match.
Okay.
Leonard Fournette.
Yeah. He got hurt in preseason,
Right.
in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one was?
What did I say? I already forgot.
You forgot.
Somebody fumbles.
Somebody fumbles, right.
Somebody is going to fumble.
Right.
Anybody can fumble.
That's right.
But why are you trying to tackle Leonard Fournette in practice? That's different. That's totally different.
You're punching it out.
Yeah, that's totally different. You don't want to tackle, but you want to do the fun. You don't want to tackle Leonard, but some guys we have to tackle.
Correct.
Because we got to make our team better.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just take that chance, like a old coach say, the football guys was on our side.
Yeah, but you don't take it with Leonard.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was hurt the whole year with that thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That high ankle, right, Eddie? You ever had that before?
I've had a broken ankle.
So might as
but
well be broken if it's high.
Yeah, it might
It's
as
like
well.
a fracture.
So,
Yeah, bro.
it took a little while to get back, but that is the balance. You have to figure out, and especially the guys in the locker room. If I'm competing against another wide receiver, it doesn't matter what the coaches say or what their evaluations are or of me doing that. I'm competing against the guy that want my job.
Yep.
And I have to show up every day regardless, whether I think I have a step or two or not on, my teammate. I'm trying to win that position. And if guys aren't going out with that attitude to win that position, then something is wrong.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's deserved. There's nothing that's given in this game. You have to go earn it.
Take it,
and you have that mentality, that dog mentality, to be able to go in and win that position. That's where the separation happens.
Ain't nothing wrong with competing
That's
and
right.
being
bro.
a friend.
Never have
No.
been.
Makes you better.
I've seen it, watched it, observed it, and it's like, wow, these guys really compete.
Getting after it.
Going at it in everything they do. But when we leave the football field, that locker room,
It's good.
no matter who's ahead, no matter what, they're still those same guys.
That's right.
That's what makes your team better.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it is you against you too, right? I mean, you know your own potential. So sometimes maybe the guys you're competing against, that's not even an issue. Like you've distanced yourselves, but who's the best player I can be too,
Right.
right? So
That's before you even step on.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
a
that
mindset that you got to come
Yeah.
with before anything, and
Yeah.
before you even start competing with him.
You got to
That's
know
right.
you're the man.
In your mind, I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that way, then something is wrong.
Well, you behind already.
Oh,
Right,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
behind. I'm already knowing when I step out on the field that there's not a person that's on the
Right.
field that's going to outwork me,
Right.
that's going to outrun me, that's going to outperform me.
Right.
It's impossible. That's in my head. Now, realistically, are there guys that are better than me, that are faster, that are stronger? Absolutely, yes. But in my mind, there's no person walking the face of the earth that's better than Eddie Kennison on practice day and on game day.
That's right.
well, and then
That's right.
like we see some of these smaller guys that walk around like they're 6'5",
And they
They
should.
believe in themselves, like baseball. Milam on the baseball team, guys like that, They had the little guy from Tennessee. He's trying to fight Jared Jones the other night, It's like Danny DeVito trying to fight Arnold, It's like,
I'm about to ask you, what you talking about, Willis?
That's right.
That's my whole life,
That's
man.
right. Kevin
That's my
Faulk,
whole life, man.
our young guy Josh Williams, who just got
Yes.
signed with Tampa Bay. He's
Yes.
another one. I mean, I think about
it
guys
you?
I played. That's right.
Yes.
I think about guys I played with that are shorter than I
Yeah.
and Rohan. Dante Hall, probably arguably
Hall.
one of the top 3 best return specialists in college football, international football
You
league.
adjusted.
Yeah.
Yo, man.
You got nicknames for you.
Ooh, yeah,
You got a
man.
nickname.
were you comparing
blows
yourself
the
to
food.
Emmanuel Lewis just now when you said what you talking about, Willis?
No, you started talking about sharpness.
Oh, okay. All right. You're not saying you were that. Okay. I'm just making sure.
I just, the comment just came out. I heard you talking about me.
That's right.
We're kids of the '80s, right?
That's right.
I'm 70s, late 70s,
Early,
80s,
right.
90s.
All that.
I'm up there.
All
Those days are over now. There's too much stuff. There's too much streaming. There's too much. I mean, the days of everyone gathering around to watch the Cosby Show, whatever the most popular show was at the time, that's kind of over with.
Oh, you got your phone, you got your iPad, you got your
The headphones.
you got tablets,
So
you
many.
got
Right.
everything that your kids or grandkids that has their attention already.
Yeah.
Back then, there was only a certain amount of things that you had that could have grabbed your attention,
Exactly.
and one of them was the TV in the house.
That's
I
right.
was talking to a musician the other day. For a kid to listen to a song is a big commitment. You want me to sit still for 3 minutes, 4 minutes? Listen, I mean, they're doing 5-10 seconds at a time, right, on TikTok.
It all depends on what song and who's singing the song, John.
Go on TikTok.
Or go on TikTok. You
That's
can
right.
quick. You can
That's
create
quick.
anything.
Right.
That's quick, baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what they're used to watching.
That's right.
Okay, so how do I weave this back? All right, so expectations. you guys said national championship. So the question with Brian Kelly has been the question since he's gotten the job. Is there really any pressure on a guy who's got a 10-year contract that's 90% guaranteed? You better straighten up, Kevin, or what? Pay me $90 million to go away, or at this point, whatever's left on the contract, $60, $70 million. So what is the situation with LSU
How much
football?
money they gave him?
It's a 10-year deal. He's coached 3 years, right? So he's got 7 left. At
much was it,
$9
10
million a
years
year, 10 years, $100 million, right? 90% of it's guaranteed.
You know they gave that boy that
Yeah,
much
what
money?
kind of controversy you trying to start right now? Man? What you talking about, man?
So
This is not breaking news to you. You know Brian Kelly's
I ain't
contract.
know it was that much.
So here's my thought on it. It's a lot of money, and let's say that any person working in a head coaching position, if they can get that type of money from anywhere, who would not take it? Now, I know I would. Now, let's say for going into expectations as a head coach, as a coaching staff, I have to believe that Brian Kelly, his thought process is winning a national championship. I cannot believe that he is not saying national championship. Correct. That's what the head coach is supposed to be doing. That's the message he's supposed to be portraying. And we believe that he's doing that. Now, has it happened? No, it hasn't happened yet. Do we want it to happen? Yes. We want to see Brian Kelly and LSU Tigers win the national championship. That's our expectations. And if it's not that, then we need to have conversations. And it's not even about money. Brian Kelly would have probably taken a job for way less than that to put himself in a position to win a national championship. That's what we expect. So it's not about money. Money does not win you games. The people that you put on your coaching staff, in the surrounding support staff and on the football field is what win you championships, not the money that's put in his pocket.
But it's the old ROI, right? Return on investment.
Sure.
So are you getting that? But it's changed too, right? In terms of used to be pay the coach, but now should we be taking some of that money and then putting it into the roster now, which he's trying to do with that $1 million match thing.
Well, look, Brian Kelly came from Notre Dame to LSU because he failed at Notre Dame to win a championship. He came to LSU. I don't know if it's his last stint or whatever he's going to do after here. Or
He
whatever.
says it is. He says it's my
But
last stop.
it's to win a championship. To Eddie's point, it's to win a championship. And how long has he been here? 4 years?
This will be his 4th year.
This will be his 4th year. It takes a little while for you to get things the way you want to get things, for you to get your recruiting class, for you to get your coaching staff, for everybody to understand what your philosophy is. And I mean, when I say I take your time, I mean, it's not a year. It's not going to take, if you have these special plans such as in 2019 with Joe and those guys, and you have, you got something to stand on and go on that. But I think now, going into year 4, he's been in the SEC a while. He's seen plethora of teams. He's been in Baton Rouge. He knows the landscape. He knows the expectations, so on and so forth. So I think that over the next couple of years is his time. I think over the next couple of years, I know, like Eddie said, every year you go into it, you want a national championship. That's the expectation. You're at LSU. But I think realistically for him, going into year 4 and 5, now you understand the landscape of NIL. You understand transfer portal. You got your guys recruiting well. You got your staff on the defensive side back together. I think going into 4 and 5, my expectations of what as know as these guys is, we should be taking a step closer to getting a national championship.
Piggyback off of you right now. The expectation definitely is going to be high every year. No matter who the head coach is, no matter how much money he's making, it's LSU.
Yep.
That's the standard that we made for LSU. For Coach Kelly, just like anywhere else that he started out, he's done the same thing every single time. He's had a plan. He's understood where he was going, what he needed to do to make that program successful. He had a plan here, just like any other place he stopped. But at some point, it was a little different. This place is a little different. This place is not like any other place that you can go and just think that you can just throw what you know into it and mix it up, and it's gonna be that. Nah, we got a little different type of seasoning here. The number one thing that we have here, we build relationships. Before NIL started and all of this, I was in that building. I couldn't believe how we were getting some of these recruits when some of these other colleges were, paying these guys. But we getting guys just based off of who we are and based off of how we making people feel. He's understand that now. And that's the point I'm getting at. He didn't really understand that at the beginning when he first got here. He understands that now. That's why you see some of the guys he's trying to bring back in to try to bring that LSU family back together. Like Rose said, it may take a couple of years, but that may be a little too late. That may be a little too late. Right now, this year, we need to make some significant gains. And when I say significant, not that we was bad, but significant gains to where it's very visible.
Right.
Well, here's how much things have changed.
Right.
So I hate to say this, but 1995 is 30 years ago.
Still making us feel old.
Yeah,
right?
well, I am right there with you.
Bringing back the magic.
Bring back the magic. After Jerry DiNardo's third year, would you say he was popular after his third year?
Not with players.
Well, okay. But with the fans?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it's interesting looking at it. This is how much things have changed, right? Jerry DiNardo's record and Brian Kelly's record after 3 years are almost identical, like exactly. Both went 3-0 in bowl games, so forth. Now Jerry DiNardo coming off of 6 straight losing seasons, stadium empty, all that. Brian Kelly's coming in after 3 national championships in recent years, and so and the money. I don't know what Jerry DiNardo made, $400,000 a year, $500,000 maybe at his peak. When they gave Nick Saban $1.2 million, they were like, "Oh my God, what are we doing?" So that's how things have changed, right?
Right.
The expectation, and I mean, 30 years is a long time ago, but that's what he's going up against now. And there's been conversations: how hard does he work, and how engaged is he, and all that. That's not me talking. I've heard that from other people. So, where is it this year? I mean, he's got a veteran quarterback, right? You got a veteran in Nussmeier.
Oh, what Eddie said is where we are. National championship is the expectations every year.
Right. And if he doesn't make the playoff, how bad would that be?
Oh no, we gotta make the playoff, baby.
Okay.
We gotta make the playoffs.
I mean, we understand there's one game at a time.
Yeah.
Right? And there's levels to this. There's steps to this.
That's what Kev talking about.
Right. And so reaching the playoffs, that's one.
Yeah.
And then obviously the national championship. I can probably say this in fairness that the fans of LSU across the globe, they would be happy with a playoff game, more happy with a win, disappointed if it doesn't happen because at that point you don't get to the national championship. Now I can see LSU fans saying, okay, like seriously, what's going on? What's happening? What do we need to do? How do we need to adjust? And that's just the fans outside. They're not in the building making the calls like Brian Kelly and the coaching staff and the support staff. So there's a lot of, things that are being juggled from Brian Kelly's standpoint. He has to put everything in place. There has to be a little luck. They have to, barring injuries, guys have to stay healthy. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to this that Brian Kelly is under pressure for. And that's all right because that's why he got into coaching. That's why he's coaching this game. So, and for us as players, we want to see our guys win. Like Kevin said, we don't care who's at head coach. Just so having that Brian Kelly as our head coach, we want him to be successful because we want our Tigers to be successful.
Exactly right.
Well, you talked about bringing other people back in. I mean, it seems like no matter what sport I cover, that has been maybe a topic over the years about whoever's coaching the team, how do they embrace the past or the former players or that coach, that's his fraternity. We don't want those players around or we don't want that over our shoulder or whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. So how has he handled that?
Well, I think that part goes to back what Kev was talking about when he said he came down here, now he's seen the landscape, he understands Southern hospitality, he understands bringing back former players. I don't think that when Coach Kelly to these guys' points, he had to get to know the landscape. I don't think that when he first came here, like Kev said, he had his own way of doing things and found out that this place is a little different. And I don't think when he first got here that was part of the game plan.
Right.
To bring back former players, to welcome former players. I think it was him coming down what most people do when they go into a new job or take over, whether it's a department, whether it's they're going to clean house, they're going to bring and do what they feel like they need to do until you learn that, okay, I need to change this. This needs to change. I need to move this. I need to do it. And I think that when he first came, he didn't understand. I think he has a better understanding of it now. And the reason I think that is based on all the things that he's done for former players recently.
All right. Let's talk about your position, Nussmeier. So I saw Coach O the other day.
Wow,
Yeah.
jumping gigawatts.
If you haven't seen the clip of Coach O speaking French, Cajun French to my dad, look it up. But
That was your dad?
yeah, on the levee right there. It was Easter Sunday. We're driving home.
They were
I
running
didn't
it,
realize
boy.
it was at the levee, bro.
They was running
Oh, what?
I looked up and I said, I think that's Coach O. And I was like, maybe not. What? Went the U-turn, get out, start walking up. Hey man, how you doing? I was like, only one guy that sounds like that, right? So he comes down. My dad's a huge Coach O fan, and so am I. I enjoy covering him and everything. So, but anyway, he was small chat with us. And he was talking about Nussmeier, and he said when Nussmeier first came in, kind of hanging his head like, y'all don't believe in me like y'all believe in Joe Burrow, man. Y'all don't
Of
believe
course
in me.
not at that time.
Right. I mean, anybody would get that, right?
Right.
So this guy's really not following up one Heisman Trophy winner. He's following up two. Because Jaden comes in and does the same thing. Had a Heisman Trophy winner since Billy Cannon in '59, and now you get two in 4 or 5 years. Right. So he played last year, B+, B- for him.
Came out the gate strong.
Yeah.
Came out the gate strong, which for me, I knew what kind of quarterback he was. He just had a couple of things that he needed to work on, which was not trying to force the ball in the red zone when he get his offense down there. He's a gunslinger. He wants to make the good throws, the tight throws, but when you're in that area, in the red zone, you got to hold back on a lot of those things. But I think he played really well to start the season off, and it just kind of starts down, and then it just got straight. It wasn't as coming back up there,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. But at the same time, he still played good. Like you said, B-.
The A&M road was the fork in the road.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That interception in the second half, and they put the other quarterback in for A&M, and he runs it in. That was the fork in the road. When they lost 3 in a row, I guess, Alabama comes in and smokes them, and they go to Florida and lose that three-game losing streak. Now, he made mistakes, but if you can't run the ball too, and I think LSU was very poorly ranked in running the ball.
Do not want to talk bad about him at all when it comes to what you just said. When you can't hand the ball consistently to get 1 or 2 yards, or don't have let me not say you can't, or you don't have the confidence to give it in them.
Eddie, how does that affect a wide receiver when you can't run the ball? When you're trying to get open.
Well, it's hard for the quarterback to release the ball because you can't run, and now your offensive lineman, they're trying to figure out, you don't have a chip guy, you don't have a guy that can get you 2 or 3 yards. So, and now the quarterback is scrambling, right?
Yeah.
And the routes, it's timing for routes, and once the timing for routes and everything go down, so the wide receiver is a non-factor. But I can tell you that this year, and I hope and pray that Chris Hilton Jr. Is able to step on the field and stay healthy. If Chris Hilton Jr. stays on the field and he stays healthy, brother, our Fighting Tigers have a greater chance of winning the national championship with Nussmeier and with Chris Hilton Jr. being on the football field.
I'll tell you what a good running game does for them. It takes that 8-man out the box.
That's right.
They can't play.
That's right.
He got to play in the box.
That's right.
And the corner is probably up on you more because he's not going to have enough time for you to go deep, right? So
That's right.
No
No
time
about
the
it.
5-yard routes and all that stuff.
That's right.
It takes one to know one, right? You were Barner. You ran a 4.2 in the 40, right?
Right.
I mean, Chris Hilton's one of the few guys that's going to maybe rival you in speed.
Yes.
He brings that electric factor. Just got to stay healthy.
Yeah, he has to stay healthy. And this is my Eddie Kennison's personal opinion. Chris Hilton Jr. at this point, and I wish we've had the opportunity to see him play the last few years, I truly believe that Chris Hilton Jr. is just as good, if not better, than Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. At this point in his career at LSU. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I've seen him practice. I came in when Chris was a freshman and saw him progress. And from where he was then until current day, watching him practice over the last few weeks up until the spring game, Chris Hilton Jr. is the truth, brother.
Yeah, I agree with that, bro.
We saw the Oklahoma
that.
game
That's right.
twice. Thus far.
Totally
I throw this ball as far as I can, and number 3 is going to go get it.
That's right.
He did it twice, and in the bowl game, he got deep on Baylor, too. So the last 2 games of the year, we saw it. And the year before, when they played Wisconsin in the bowl game, he caught a big late pass in the game, set up the game-winning touchdown to Brian Thomas and all that. So
That's right.
he just only hadn't played enough.
With Nussmeier this year, what you want to see from him is what Kev said earlier. He got all the ability, man, everything. It feels like Nussmeier been around for about 8-9 years. You know what I mean?
Almost.
And the fact that he's only started 1 year, which was last year. Now you think about him going into his second year of being a starting quarterback at LSU. You're gonna, in my opinion, the last two Heisman Trophy winners you've seen, that second year was unbelievable, right? And you give this kid, like Eddie just said, you give him a healthy Chris, which is key to me, and you give him that running game that they lacked last year. And now, like Kev said, they could take them out the box. I don't think there's a ceiling for him. I really don't. I don't think there's a ceiling for him as far as like when he comes on the field and what he can do and what he can't do. If he stays healthy, Chris stays healthy, that running game, and these guys that they've brought around to piece together, the Barry and the big boy from Florida State, where the big receiver from?
We got the Nick Anderson from
Him.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And those guys, listen, I think the sky's the limit for him. I really do.
And Nussmeier, he's a good kid. You know, I see him at church every week. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you feel old. I was at church. Tommy Hodson was in front of me, and then Garrett was behind me. And afterwards, I said, "It's two number 13s that were quarterback at LSU. My childhood hero, Tommy Hodson." I didn't expect Garrett to know who he was. Oh yeah, I know Tommy Hodson. Yeah, you know, my dad.
know who that is.
That's right. I'm trying to tell you.
LSU, you better know him. And play quarterback.
Right. Exactly.
And how you grew up and who your father is, you better know. Yeah.
Well, these days, you know.
Well,
Malik didn't know who Josh Reed was.
oh, but that's okay.
Oh, that's all right.
He's
not all right.
I'm just playing. He still should know who Jay Reed is.
Jay Reed from our area,
That's
though.
what I'm saying, especially from being down in that area.
First Biletnikoff winner in LSU.
And you sure Malik ain't know?
He said it.
He probably didn't. He probably didn't.
Josh saw the clip. Trust me.
But that's part of the process of bringing back former players and putting them in position to talk to the current
The younger
players.
guys, yeah. That's like me not knowing who Tommy Hodson is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I saw his dad. Of course, Garrett's dad, Doug, is now working with the Saints, and I told him, I said, "Man, I see your kid. He's at church every week. You better see him every week." You know, so it all comes down from the parents, good parenting,
No doubt.
coach's son. You know, he's got to improve some decisions. And does he need to run a little bit more? Yes. I mean, Joe Sloan said that in the press conference. Look, we want him to run a little bit more.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, I don't agree with all that running more stuff when it comes to him. Now, you show me where we got somebody that's going to come in and be comparable to what he's doing at the position. You know, for me, the scariest part about the starting quarterback is who's behind him.
Right.
So I'm not knocking those guys that's behind him. I don't know many of those guys are behind him. We got a transfer from Mississippi State and we got a young freshman. But for me, it's all about keeping him upright and keeping him healthy.
Right.
Well, Van Buren, the kid from Mississippi State, he looks like an upgrade over the guy they had last year. The guy from Vanderbilt, I can't even think of it. Swan, A.J. Swan, good kid. But I think the Van Buren kid had a couple 300-yard games against Georgia. And
He ain't had no 300-yard games for us yet.
No, I'm just
Until
saying.
that happens.
I'm not pushing for him to play. I'm just saying that.
No, I don't want to see nobody else behind center butting us this year. Now, you could bring them in and we beating somebody behind and they need some, you know, some tread for next year. But no, I want to see Nussmeier command, do everything that he needs to do going into this year. And the only way he come off the field is if we beating somebody behind and he, you know, he's taking a rest.
That was just one of those that everybody was comfortable with what they had seen the last few years. And there was Flash, Jaden.
Right.
Everybody was just comfortable with that. But we know who Nussmeier is.
Yes.
He's not that running guy.
No.
If you do, you got to pick your poison when you do it.
That's
you
right.
got to be very smart when you do it. It shouldn't be something
I mean,
that's
but
done early on in the year. But when you get down in the season to where you know that the game is
If it's critical, yes.
You have to. But as far as we're going to run him 11, 12 times a game.
Talking about hell no. No.
Well, and Jaden Daniels was your rushing game for 2 years. The 2 years he played, you really didn't need a whole lot from your running backs because he would take off. And now,
See my look right now?
Yeah, I don't want to see Nussmeier trying to take off like that, man.
Right now.
what I'm saying is, Caden Durham, Caleb
Man,
Jackson.
that thing to one of them.
Caleb Jackson has flashed to Leonard Fournette where he could truck somebody, but he has not had him to trust him consistently. And this Harlan Berry kid, he looked pretty good in the spring in terms of he's smaller. But what's your take on the running backs right now that they've got?
Like
Can they
what I
protect?
first said earlier, it's tough to judge when you got on and you're not playing full speed.
Gym
And
shorts.
you know that you're not going to get hit, or you know that you're not going to get tackled. You know, it's tough to judge that. And plus, I'm not going to try to judge him when you don't see him every day.
Yeah. Well, I can't name who the offensive linemen really are, but I do know that Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Miles Frazier, and Garrett Dellinger all got drafted.
They sure did.
And DJ Chester's really the only guy who played who's back as a starter. Now, although they said, okay, well, after when we were going to the bowl game, we knew that Will Campbell wasn't playing, Emory wasn't playing, so we started to kind of start to sculpt the offensive line for next year. But they got they got 2 out of the portal that I hope they think they can start. But so that situation there is, obviously paramount for not only protecting Garrett but running the football.
That's key.
That's everything.
That's everything, yeah.
And one thing we know for sure, with Brad Davis
That's right.
being the offensive line coach, that offensive line will be ready.
That's right.
Baton Rouge native. Brad's been
Monster
in
Brad.
offensive line coach for a number of years, and coming back to Baton Rouge, we know Brad Davis. We was on staff with Brad Davis. We know what type of person he is. We know what type of coach he is.
Heck of a
That
coach,
offensive
man.
line will be ready. I don't care where
I
they come
agree.
from.
I
They're going to
agree.
be ready.
I totally agree. I had a chance to be out there a couple of springs, and I'm like, Kev, I ain't gonna judge you because I don't see you on a day-to-day basis. But I know Brad Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I know him when I train his son, and he be sitting there watching, and it's as intense as it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I already know. And you've seen it also, man, just from all the awards and everything that the line has gotten over the last few years. With him coming in and being a coach, he's that rock that holds them together. And the one thing that you see from those guys, happen to be at a couple practices, they respect Brad Davis.
Right.
And that's the when you respect your coach like that, and you're willing to run through a brick wall for him and take everything he says to like God said it. That's the big. Brad Davis is a huge asset for LSU.
Yeah.
Well, this is the job he's always wanted.
Yep.
I mean, he's played at Bel Air High School. He won a national championship playing for Oklahoma. I mean, his resume, if you look at some of the schools he had to coach at early in his career, like, where the hell is that?
Right.
You know, I mean,
Paid his dues,
he's a testament to, these coaches get all this money. Well, he earned it. You know, he had to work all these jobs. I think he even told us in an interview, my wife was paying the bills for whatever amount of time before I
John,
finally
you
got
put
it.
you
I was
put
about
my
to say,
thing
Jack,
on wrong.
I was about to say, Jack, man, you got Rohan in here stripping in here,
You
man.
put this on
I was about to say, man, what's going on?
This keeps it live, folks. This tells you that this isn't polished and rehearsed right
I see
here.
Ro going down in the shirt. I'm like, what's going
Man, I
on?
thought something was running up. You know what I'm saying? Like a little.
Some roaches in this place, huh? or something.
I know that Eddie got to go in a few. But
Okay.
at the same time with LSU, we talking about the last part we talked about was the offensive line. The next part we got to talk about defensive
D-line.
line.
Yep.
Because all of us know that if we going to have somewhat of a good football team or a productive football team,
Trenches.
the trenches got to sharpen the trenches. That
right.
iron
That's right,
gotta sharpen
baby.
Iron.
That's right.
No matter
Like
what
that,
goes
kid.
on, the iron got to sharpen iron. We gonna know how good we are with our trenches.
That's right.
Offensive line and defensive line.
That's right.
Because we've always had the talent at LSU outside.
Right.
Athletes, quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends, running backs, DBs, linebackers. But you never really hear about that.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
start hearing about that,
Yeah.
2019,
Seriously?
what that offensive line did.
Yeah. Seriously.
They won the award for the best again.
I didn't even know they had an award for that. But that
Me
line,
neither.
But that line,
know that either.
when you see that line, you're like, wow. And you watch them all year long.
Then you see them all in the pros.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And the one thing we know for sure with our defensive line is that with Bo Davis leaving and going to New Orleans, they bring in a 13-year NFL vet
Yes.
to coach our defensive line. So one, immediately he's going to have respect because of the game that he played and played for so long.
And where he played.
And
That's
where he
exactly
played,
right.
So tell me about that, because some people say, well, he lacks experience. Well, he's been an all-pro player. He's been
Experience
playing the
what?
game. He's not a coach until now.
Experience.
Kyle
What do you
Williams. Kyle Williams
He
coaching.
coached before he came in high school.
Yes.
That
But it's not for me, but from others. Like you know.
was his appetizer to see if he really wanted. It's to see if he really could.
And a bunch of NFL teams tried to hire him.
Yeah, and it's
before
that's
this.
right. And it's different if the
Totally different.
it's different if the guy hadn't played 13 seasons at the level that he played
Right.
and the respect that he commanded, not only from his teammates but everyone across the league.
The league,
Like this is a fantastic. Then you bring somebody that loves LSU.
Right.
Right.
That's a
He's not leaving.
technician.
That's right.
Listen, I had a chance to talk to, that boy told me, and I never even thought about this. He told me, he said, Ro, and this was a couple weeks ago, he said, man, I'm just waiting for my family to get down here. Once they get down here, he said, man, I did the calculation. He said he's missed so much. He spent a whole year in training camps. His life, whole year, 13 seasons equal to 1 year of his life. And that was amazing, bro. That's amazing. The same thing with y'all.
That's right.
Especially because y'all play the same amount.
Right.
You guys spent the whole 1 full calendar year in training camp.
I had a quick conversation with him before the spring scrimmage. He said, Dominic McKinley just turned 19 years old. I mean,
Right.
young kid. Jacoby and Guillory, can he come back from the Achilles? Can he be a factor? They just got a kid out of the portal from somewhere as well. So, yeah, your trench play. And look, 2019, I love those guys, but Braden Fajoko, Rashard Lawrence, I mean, they weren't Glenn Dorsey and Michael Brockers,
Well, I don't
right?
think that they have, well, I know Kyle knows. They don't have what they want at that position yet. But he's definitely sees the talent that's in there, and they're going to have to put some stuff together to make it work.
It's all about the
Right.
D coordinator understanding
Yes, sir.
who he has there
Yes, sir.
and what they can do for you.
Yes, sir.
And we know who Blake Baker is.
Exactly.
And we know what
Well,
Blake
you know who
Baker is
Blake-
capable
yeah.
of.
I think
Yes, we
the SEC know who Blake Baker is.
Yes,
right.
they do.
That's
Yes,
right.
they do.
they
Fantastic coordinator, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic. He going to
Better person.
bring them.
Better person.
Yeah.
And now Corey is back for a full, it's a boomerang, huh? They come back.
Give him back.
Uh,
give him back.
And then they got
I'll take 'em.
young lady Kiva Soil, Cormier. She was working. Now she's back in the NIL. So, some people that left to
Familiar
come back.
faces,
And
bro.
Yeah.
Well, your phrase and understand and know.
Right. I love the university.
Well, and
Right.
it goes back to what Rose said earlier about, LSU, Brian Kelly, understanding, the circle of who Louisiana is, and in particular LSU, the culture that we have and the things that we've built, how different we are. And with Brian Kelly and LSU understanding that, then they say, okay, we need to go back, bringing Frank Wilson back, bringing Corey back, bringing Bo Davis back when he was bringing Kyle back. I mean, you bring Blake, bringing all of the ex-LSU people back and putting them in the building to help understand the culture of what LSU is it's phenomenal in itself, and it just shows growth from Brian Kelly and from LSU.
This guy's making poignant statements here, and your phone is
They
blinging
totally
like-
disrespecting the whole thing. Like phone going off.
It's like
beeping.
being in the movies, huh?
Yes, man. No, I can't believe you, John.
And
Hey,
something
my
in-
phone's over there. It's not me, but this guy's a lot bigger than me, so I'm not
Still
going to
got a
fuss.
ding from over there. It still can ding from
You got to go here in a second.
It ain't my phone.
Well, this is a loaded topic, but Kyron Lacey was laid to rest. Very, very complicated situation. There was a older gentleman who lost his life in a car accident of some kind. Kyron was charged for it. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I guess there'll never be a process. There'll never be a court. That family wanted, some justice, whatever happened. We all know Cecil Collins went through a lot more, has started his life over again, is doing very well. Kyron's life has ended. So just your thoughts on that. Is it the pressure of the modern athlete as well with social media that I have to make it in the NFL, that I got to prove myself? Just all in all, there's no winners in this situation, right?
Definitely pressure. Definitely pressure. But we gotta understand the pressure's coming from not just social media. The pressure coming from everyone. And when you believe that everybody is watching, this is what happens sometimes. But like we all say, check on your people.
Mhm.
Cause you just asking them a question if they're all right, and they're telling you yeah. That ain't cutting it no more. Because they can easily tell you, yeah, I'm good, I'm straight, and then go off and get into another situation. But it's heartfelt. One of those things that you hate to talk about, but when you do talk about it, you really don't want to talk about no negatives. You want it to all be positive, just for the family's sake, just for his legacy. Yeah, we understand that something happened. He wasn't perfect. We are none perfect. Man lost his life. Family lost a relative. A mom lost a son. A dad lost a son. brother lost a brother, sister lost a brother. You know, with the world today, the negative is what sells. It sells too much. And sometimes we can't handle that. Some people can, some people can't. But again, check on your people. And don't let them just tell you that I'm straight, I'm good. You may have to go a little further and check them.
Well said, man. Well said. All I just want to say is my hearts and condolences out to his family, whoever lost their lives in the tragic accident, and just peace and prayers for both families, man. It's a tragedy either way you look at it.
Let's think about pressure, right? The pressure with Kyron just didn't happen over a couple weeks, right? This pressure started when Kyron was 5, 6 years old. We don't know how he grew up, what his family dynamics were, mom, dad, whatever the case may be. And during the process of growing up, you know, Kyron had the opportunity, like all of us, to play a sport that we love and have the opportunity to think about changing the trajectory of our family, whether it's wealth, whether it's fame, whatever the case may be. He had the opportunity. And leading up to that point, everything had been catered to Kyron, like it has been for a lot of us. And then when it was time to perform or get to a point to change the trajectory, the world really started happening, because the world put you on a pedestal for your entire life being an athlete. And when things happen, whether being charged or not, those pressures, they tend to build up. And like Kevin said, we are easily coerced into a conversation to say, hey, how are you doing? And the politically correct answer is, I'm good. Well, that's not good enough. If that's your friend, if that's your person, you got to really dig in. You have to sit them down and you have to have those conversations. What's going on? What can I help you with? And you have to show up. Yeah. You have to show up. When someone calls or you see something on, you have to show up. So, like Kevin said, check on your people. Yeah, check on them.
I just want to say, you know, what I did not expect was for Kyron's mother to get up and sing the way she did. I think Whitney Houston is the greatest voice that's ever walked this earth, and she was giving her a run for her money. I sounded just like Whitney Houston up there singing at the service. It was amazing.
Whitney ain't never had to sing in that situation.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
Yes, unbelievable.
Yeah. Outpouring and
God's grace with her.
Yeah.
well, thanks for y'all coming down.
There you go, bro. You want to shake hands?
Be sure to vote November the 5th at your local primary.
That's right.
Thanks guys for coming down.
That's right.
We'll do this again as we get closer to the season. Thanks for stopping by Jacques Talk. We'll see you later.